What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got a reaction to the top 10 video game soundtracks brought to us by friend, longtime supporter, patron of the channel, River. Thank you, River. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the Instagram. We could not do it without him, and I could not do this list without River because I would have no idea. I used to be, all my life I played video games. The last 10 years, not nearly as much. I got messed up hands. I got rheumatoid arthritis, and I can't do it. So I would have no idea here, but River is an expert on this because he's brought a bunch of good ones to our live streams that we do on Wednesday nights on YouTube. So River says, I went through some of my favorite video games to first root out the games that had my favorite soundtracks. And while this list is not comprehensive, it does contain what I think are the best musical moments from various games. I limited myself to one track across a franchise, so keep that in mind. As if I didn't, I'd likely have a list consisting of music from 2 to 3 games that have my favorite soundtracks. So if you've never noticed before, the music will not be in the video, but it'll be at a Vimeo link below. So click on that and follow along. Let's kick this thing on. And guys, I'm not going to get all these names right. So I'm telling you up front, this is way out of my knowledge base. But we got Arianchi D, Jury's Theme by Shigeyuki Kamada from Street Fighter 6 original soundtrack in 2023. River says, fighting games, in my opinion, have the strongest soundtracks consistently, as each character's theme has to match them. And Juri Han from Street Fighter has among my favorite themes. Street Fighter 6 being the most recent release, having one of the best versions of her theme, playing with more electronics and hip-hop influence, much like the rest of the game had. Now, for the songs that have lyrics, I'll have my lyrics up, as always, but a lot of these songs, obviously, are just instrumentals. All right, thanks to River. Let's get it. All right, Jury's Theme. This is kind of an elementary and simplistic way of judging these songs, but really what you want the song to do, right, in this kind of context, for me, is I want it to be playing in my head when the song's over. Right? And this one is. This one isn't. River nailed it. You got a little EDM and hip-hop all mixed together, but the song never gets boring because we change it up even there towards the end. We got a nice little change up there, so good way to kick off the list. Next up, we have Razormine by Simon Viklund, a Payday 2 official soundtrack back in 2013. River says Payday 2 has a mix of low-down, tense, techno, and electronica that quickly ramps up in volume to a crescendo due to the nature of the game. The tracks Simon Viklund put together for the soundtrack need to be playable for stealth or loud missions in the game. This track's one of the best on the soundtrack. That's tough, man. I never thought about that. You got to write for different scenarios and kind of have the song fit both. All right, Razormine. What a nice build on this one. Nice slow build, and then just really got you. And these songs, man, they go by so fast, which I know is kind of the idea. It's kind of what you want when you're playing a game. You don't want the song to seem long. Like when you're in the moment, you want it just to be part of the game. But yeah, really, really well done. We got after it a little more on that song once it got going. Next up, we have One Winged Angel from Nobu Uematsu from Final Fantasy VII. Do my Roman numerals there in 2007. River says this is such an obvious gimme on a list like this that it's possible you may have heard this track. I don't know, but One Winged Angel is much like the Imperial March in its status as an immediately recognizable antagonist theme. This one's long. It's over 7 minutes. Let's get it. And it does have lyrics. All right, One Winged Angel. The song I forgot to mention is the live version, One Winged Angel, played and recorded during the Distant Worlds series of concerts performed by a symphony orchestra, choir, and vocal and instrumental soloists. And you just hear it under the direction of conductor Arnold Arnie Roth, and you kind of hear that grand, it's just a grand song. It's sung in Latin. I have the English translation, but it's fine. I was looking at it. It's more about, you really do feel that kind of Imperial March, as River mentioned. You feel that it has a lot of change-ups in it. I thought it was really good. It was what we like to call epic. Next up, we have Love, the Subhuman Self from Aisha and Arc System Works from the Guilty Gear Strive original soundtrack, Volume 1, 2021. River says, Love, the Subhuman Self is the theme for Milia Rage in the most recent entry for the fighter Guilty Gear Strive. Strive's soundtrack was composed by Daisuke Ishiwatari, who also does the writing, character design, and much of the overall conceptualization of the Guilty Gear series. That's some talent right there. A joke among fans being each Guilty Gear game is a soundtrack with a game attached. Luckily, both the music and game are excellent. Okay, Love, the Subhuman Self. This song had everything going on. And I could see this is right up River's alley as well. Our first song with true lyrics, like a true, lyrics driving the song. But Aisha, I guess that's how you say her name. She has this beautiful voice and nice harmony in there. And then in verse 2, Naoki comes in and he's doing more metal, this just guttural sound back there. And then the instrumentation, the drumming is fantastic. It switches between melody to just this hard driving, almost machine gun drumming in there. It's really, really interesting, the contrast on this thing. At the end, we even get some keys coming in. So really well done. And this thing would keep your attention and get your attention. There literally is something for everyone, and that's hard to find. Next up, as we come close to the halfway mark, we got The Legacy of Ball by Borislav Slavov from Baldur's Gate 3 original soundtrack in 2023. River says this is an excellent example of music doing its job and telling part of the story. Legacy of Ball can be seen as a main villain theme and for one of the possible characters you play. Their personal theme as they embrace evil. All right, The Legacy of Ball. That one had more of a grand feel to it. Like I felt like maybe we were entering somewhere or we're going into battle. I have no idea obviously where it fits in the game, but that's what I got out of that. Like we're going into something that's about to be really serious. And so I thought it built on that greatly, and you may know the game. I mean, I know River does, but you maybe watch this knowing the game going, dude, you're way off it. That's what I got out of that. So I thought it did a really good job of making me feel like something big time was about to happen. All right, let's get to the top half of this list. We got Dragonborn by Jeremy. It's either Soleil or Soul, so let's call him Jeremy. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, the original game soundtrack from 2011. It's hard not to consider, River says, Jeremy to be among the best composers in the video game space. I should really know his name then, huh? Well, I may prefer Nerevar Rising or Reign of the Septums by him for openings to an Elder Scrolls game. This track is undoubtedly a part of why Skyrim is the best-selling Elder Scrolls game. I found the composition is Nordic-influenced classical in style and features a chorus singing lyrics in a fictional language, Dragon Tongue. It was created by Emil Paglurio for the game. The composition borrows heavily from Nerevar Rising, when River just mentioned the theme from the Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind, as well as elements from music in Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion, both of which were also composed by Jeremy. Dragonborn was lauded by critics and audiences alike. It's featured in orchestral performances and spawned numerous covers, many of which combine the song with an in-game English language composition, The Dragonborn Comes. One such cover by Lindsey Sterling and Peter Hollins holds the Guinness Book of World Record for most viewed cover version of a video game soundtrack. I think it was 17 million, but don't hold me to that. The director of Skyrim, Todd Howard, envisaged the game's theme song to be performed by a choir of chanting barbarians. Emil, who I talked about earlier, the game writer, invented a fictional dragon language, Dragon Tongue, for the choir to sing in unison. As requested by Howard, he designed the language in such a way that the lyrics will not only rhyme in Dragon Tongue, but also when translated into English. Now that I thought was really tricky. The lyrics praise the Dragonborn, the customizable player character, who's prophesied to save Tamariel from the dragons using the dragon's own shouts. The song also recounts the return of the great dragon Alduin and the climactic final battle, which banishes him forever. 30 singers composed the choir. Multiple recordings of the choir were layered over each other, right, to achieve the sonic impression of over 100 voices. The opening combines rhythm from taiko drums with a string section and male choral chants. Horns then join in the choir assists in driving the melody. The harmonies from brass and strings give the melody a darker tone prior to a trumpet fanfare. I just thought there was so much behind this song. I want to share that. Let's get it. Once again, having no idea about the game or where it falls. This one, I feel like something great happened at the end or something triumphant. You kind of feel that, and maybe that's not the case, but the tone of the music changes. But definitely felt like 100 plus people in that choir, right? Remember I talked about overlaying the effects, but really good song that seems like he goes through a lot of different emotions in a very quick amount of time. And I thought the Dragon Tongue was cool. I mean, I can tell you what the lyrics were saying, but it's kind of irrelevant, but like, Dragonborn by his honor is sworn to keep evil forever at bay, and the fiercest foes rout when they hear triumph shout, Dragonborn, from your blessings we pray. Yes, they have an English translation to Dragon Tongue. So let's go, man. Next up, we have Rules of Nature by Jason Charles Miller from Metal Gear's Rising Revengeance vocal tracks in 2013, because there's an instrumental version of this album as well. River says this almost new metal track is a theme for the first boss of the game Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and the chorus, kicking in just as you finish the boss off, is likely the adrenaline kick that got the game to be as popular as it is decades on. Our Rules of Nature, a quick song. You feel it's serious on this. So chorus only repeats or only goes on once, but the chorus tells us the tale of the story. And they run when the sun comes up with their lives on the line. Alive for a while, no choice. Got to follow the laws of the wild. Alive with their lives on the line, no choice. Out here, only the strong survive. So really well done. You definitely feel the intensity on this one would be the word that I would use. All right, we got 3 songs left. We got Rip and Tear from Mick Gordon off the Doom original game soundtrack in 2016. River says Mick Gordon's soundtrack for Doom 2016 is, in my opinion, honest opinion, what makes the game work. Combine them with the hard-hitting combat, slaying demons, and it becomes an adrenaline rush that's hard to deny. The whole soundtrack is heavy metal, and it fits so well for an over-the-top first-person shooter. I agree with that without even hearing this song. All right, what a build. You definitely feel like this should go in a game like Doom. I've not played Doom 2016, but I played Doom way back in the day. You can feel it. It really dialed it back for a long time. I thought it was never going to come back, but it did. But once again, drama, and this is what you want in a shooting game, right? You got to have the drumming coming all in, the guitar work coming all in, but nicely done. It sounds like it fits perfect in a game like this. 2 songs left. We got One Final Effort, Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore from the Halo 3 original soundtrack in 2007. River says this theme from the 3rd Halo game speaks for itself. Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore did for Halo what John Williams did for Star Wars. Now that's high praise. Gave the game not just an iconic soundtrack, but one where the individual musical moments are associated so heavily with the part of the game they're playing that you can see that moment in your mind. Yeah, that's a rare thing to achieve. All right, Halo 3, One Final Effort. This one definitely, and it's going to seem like I'm stealing River stuff, because I am, but it definitely does have a John Williams kind of grand feel to it. You know, it doesn't set up the drama like some of these other songs do. It has that flowing cinematic soundtrack where like I'm watching E.T. or something, right? I'd even go that avenue other than like Star Wars even almost. But yeah, I thought it was excellent, man. A great piece of music. And here we are with number 1, Zero, Project Aces, Keiki Kobayashi. This is such a personal choice, River says, but I had to. Keiki Kobayashi by himself could fill a list of my favorite game soundtrack moments just from the Ace Combat series. This song, Zero, ends the game Ace Combat Zero, the Belkin War, with a mix of the typical electronica mixed with orchestral music of other Ace Combat titles and throws in incredible flamenco guitar playing as you and the final boss of the game duel in the sky. All right, fantastic write-up. Also, just an FYI, you're going to see it down below, but this isn't the song we're listening to because it's not the right one. It's on YouTube. It's not on Spotify, but I wanted you to have like idea what the song was. All right, Zero, Project Aces from Keiki Kobayashi. Man, that song, so many change-ups, right? That flamenco guitar really gives it this texture, man, that they just keep revisiting, but a lot of different tempo changes, so you know something's going on, which obviously in a game like this, it is. So a worthy choice here at number 1 for River. Now we'll get to my favorite tracks. Before I do that, I'll just say it's interesting, right? I'm not necessarily an OG gamer, but I'm pretty dang close. I got an Atari in 1977, so there's a little bit of things. There was a thing called the Magnavox Odyssey before that, if memory serves me right. Not much. I mean, I was playing Space Invaders and Pong, boys and girls. I remember the first time I went over to somebody's house and they were playing Pong in their basement, right? Had this little paddle controller. I was mesmerized by a white character, a white line, a black line, and this little ball that was a square going back and forth like it was the coolest thing ever. So I go way, way back. Way, way back. I mean, from the Atari to the Intellivision to the ColecoVision, like I go way back. I don't play games that much now, like I mentioned, because I can't, because my hands are jacked up. But I would have never imagined back then where, I mean, when you talk about game music, it was as rudimentary as it gets. So it's kind of cool that it's evolved to, well, it's not kind of cool. It's really cool that it's evolved to this. So not knowing where they fit in the games and stuff, I mean, River's going to have a much deeper connection to these and really understand how they fit. So I'm just going off of what I hear here. Honorable mentions, Razor Mind by Simon Viklund, Rules of Nature by Jason Charles Miller, and this last song, Zero by Project Aces from Keiki Kobayashi. Fave's going to be One Winged Angel. Also, love the subhuman self that Aisha and Arc System Works. We had way back towards the start of this thing. That was really good. Dragonborn. And One Final Effort from Halo 3. So let me know your favorites down below. What else should I check out? What are iconic video game songs? Thank you to River for bringing this one. Until next time, guys, I will see you.